What is up, guys? It is the Sound Alchemist, and today I'm back to bring you another epic Warhammer 40K 8th Edition battle report. I know, it's been a long time. It's been about 3 months, maybe even 4, since we had a battle report on the channel, but worry not, because battle reports are coming, and this is the first battle report that I get to field my own personal Chaos army. I was using the Infernal Sons, which is a Chaos Undivided army. So before I get into the actual battle list, or warrior list, army list, I do want to say that this was an epic battle. It was really amazing going up against the World Eaters. So I'm fighting Khorne's Chosen. Now, this was lots of fun. I do expect to play another battle report within the week, so expect another battle report coming out next week. Although I don't have video footage of this, I was able to take pictures, and I'll talk through the turns and whatnot. So sit tight and let's enjoy this epic 40k battle report. So the game type was Maelstrom. It was essentially the board where you're playing long ways and you've got like a triangle for your deployment zone. We each had 6 tactical objectives that once we got a point at the end of the turn, we would draw a new one. So, with that being said, we were playing 1500 points of Chaos versus Chaos. So for my Chaos Undivided list, it was a battalion detachment. For my Warlord, it was a Chaos Hellwright on a Dark Abiant. So if you don't know what this is essentially a super buffed up Warpsmith that can be found on Forge World. So, that being said, he's got a Warpfire Lance, a Flamer, an Infernal Axe, Mecha Tendrils, a Soulburner Pistol, and a Void Cutter. That is a lot of stuff, guys. And on top of this, for his Warlord trait, I gave him Unholy Fortitude, which gives him that +1 wound. For my other HQ, I had a Sorcerer. This Sorcerer was just a basic dude. He had the Eye of Zeech to make sure I'd be hitting those smites. He also had a Plasma Pistol and a Force Sword. For his psychic powers, I gave him Prescience and the Infernal Gaze. Now my tactic with this dude was to just have to basically sit him back and have him Prescience the long range portion of my army to get those hits in. But with that being said, let's continue on. When it comes to troops, I had 3 units of 10 bloodletters each, with each unit having 1 Instrument of Chaos. So what this Instrument of Chaos does, it gives them a +1 to their charge and their advance roll. So I can move them up a little bit quicker and get them into close combat, which is where they need to be. The elite portion of this was my my long range support. I had 2 Hellbrutes with twin last cannons and missile launchers. The last cannons, I needed them to hit, so that's why I stuck them right next to my Sorcerer, because Prescience is really good. A little hard to get off, but it's really good. And then continuing on, for my heavy support, I had 2 Mauler Fiends. I gave them Lasher Tendrils, I believe that's how you pronounce it. And I just like the look of these guys. When I first saw them, the model was huge. I was just like, whoa, they're so cool, so I had to put them in here. And then the cherry on top, for the Flyers, it was 2 Helldrakes with Bale Flamers. Can't go wrong with Helldrakes. So that was my Infernal Sons, my Chaos Undivided army. So let's move on over and talk about the World Eaters. So my opponent was also using a battalion detachment. For his Warlord, he had a Dark Apostle with a Bolt Pistol, the Mark of Khorne, and a Powerball. He also had another HQ, an Exalted Champion with a Bolt Pistol, Chainsword, and a Mark of Khorne. Basically just buffing up his Berserkers, which he had 3 units of them. They each had Chain Swords and Chain Axes. So literally, these guys, if they hit me, he was literally throwing like almost 100 dice. That's how crazy strong this close combat unit was. He also had 2 Flyers. They were called Chaos Hellblades, which are Flyers that can be found in the Forge World rules, and they each had double last cannons. Really scary unit. For his fast attack, he had a Blood Slaughterer of Khorne with Slaughter Blades. Another Forge World unit. Really awesome looking model. I gotta give him credit to that. Very intimidating, and it looks really badass. And finally, he had a Lord of War, the almighty Hellforged Spartan Assault Tank. this tank is nasty. It is a freaking beast when it comes to shooting because he's got a twin heavy bolter and 2 quad las guns. However, it is able to basically eat up whatever it comes into contact with and regain wounds. Or, for example, because the way he was using it, he had his berserkers in there, and anytime they would disembark, they had the potential of getting eaten by the Spartan and thus regaining wounds on that Spartan. So it's crazy. I can't stress it enough how awesome Khorne is when it comes to building lists. Like, you could literally just go overboard with freaking killing your own units like Khorne the Betrayer and whatnot. But yeah, this was 1,500 points on the nose for both armies. So let's find out what actually happened in this battle report. So the World Eaters had turn 1, and he basically moved everything up except for the Spartan. He ended up getting first blood when he killed one of my Mauler Fiends with his flyers and the Spartan shooting last cannons at it. Yeah, it had no chance. And then he also claimed objective 4 with his Spartan. So already he was at a great start. I was looking a little scared seeing at what I had to go up against. However, on my turn 1, I got overwhelming firepower because I blew up his Hellblade. I also claimed objective 2 with my Bloodletters, and then my Mauler Fiend got into close combat with his Blood Slaughterer. Really awesome battle here. I brought him down to 2 wounds, and then when he hit back, he killed me. However, I exploded and I took him with me. So that was pretty epic there. Also, when I shot down one of his Hellblades, it blew up and it literally took like 2 wounds from like 3 units that was near it. So, I mean, yeah, I killed one of his units, but like I severely crippled my army as a whole because they just took mortal wounds. That was pretty nasty. But overall, I ended up also getting, I believe it was called Warp is my ally, because I casted Prescience. So at the end of turn 1, I was actually ahead. I had 4 points and he only had 2. For turn 2, the World Eaters, their Berserkers took down one of my Helldrakes, and then he got Scour the Skies, and his Spartan actually ate 2 of his Berserkers when they disembarked, which was pretty cool. I never seen something like that happen. But anyway, he also got Defend Objective 4. For my turn 2, the Sorcerer killed his last Hellblade with Smite. My Warlord got into close combat with the Berserkers, killing all but 1, and he was brought down to 3 wounds. However, the Bloodletters ended up moving up, and at the end of this turn, I was still up ahead with 9 points to his 5. Turn 3, not much happened with the World Eaters. He ended up killing my Warlord with a Spartan, giving him Slay the Warlord. And on my turn 3, my Hell Brutes took quite a bit of wounds off of his Spartan. Not enough to kill it though, but then my Bloodletters moved up and took out with the last remaining Berserker that ran away from fighting my Warlord. So at the end of turn 3, he ended up getting 3 more points, bringing his total up to 8. I only got 1 more, so right now it's 8 to 10. Pretty close battle. Not much really happened on turn 4. His Spartan and his Khorne Berserkers took out one of my Bloodletter squads, while I just got Master of the Warp by casting Prescience, and I got Area Denial, which meant that no enemy units were within 6 inches of the center of the board, so that was already 2 points to me. Also, I ended up assaulting with my Bloodletters and killing off one of the squads of Berserkers. So then we move on to turn 5. So, turn 5, they killed my Bloodletters, so I ended up only having literally just 2 Hellbrutes and my Sorcerer left, and they were literally on the other side of the board. So at this point, he had 10 points. On my bottom of turn 5th, which potentially could have been the end of the game, I just fired my Hellbrutes into his squad, but I was just rolling really horrible. So I ended up having 10 points. He had 10 points, so it's a tie. But the game continued to turn 6. On turn 6, Supremacy gave the World Eaters +1 point, and he also had a secure objective 2, bringing them up to 12 points. So he was in the lead now. So it was all up to me if I could catch up. All I needed to do was kill one of his units to gain 2 points. However, my Hellbrutes killed every Marine but 1. so I couldn't kill that last unit, and I ended up sticking with 10 points. We rolled to see if the game continued to turn 7, the final turn. However, it ended right there. So at the end of this crazy game, it was really close the whole time, I lost. World Eaters came out on top. They were a huge threat in close combat. It seemed like whenever I would charge with my Bloodletters, they'd win, or when I'd get charged back, Bloodletters would just get swept. But yeah, it was a great game, really fun. I really enjoy playing Chaos as opposed to Grey Knights. That was the whole thing. I wanted to play Grey Knights because I thought they were an elite army. They looked really badass. They had great lore. But the allure of Chaos was too great, so I ended up succumbing, and I ended up getting a Chaos army, and I enjoyed it. I lost, but I had a great time playing. It was awesome to see his version of Khorne going up against the Undivided Infernal Sons. All in all, it was a great game, really close, came down to the wire. It would have been a tie if it ended in turn 10, however, it went on to turn 6, and the dice gods were in his favor. So with that being said, guys, this was the end of this awesome battle report. Stay tuned because we got more epic battle reports coming your way. And also, don't forget that you guys can comment down below what other topics you want us to do a 40 facts video or a grim dark battle. So let us know, and with that, that's all I got. I'm the Sound Alchemist, part of One Mind Syndicate, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.